Yeah.
Past the Dairy Queen, first road to the left, if you're going north, and past the Dairy Queen, you've gone too far.
Yep.
Mark said that's for you to look at, but you cannot have it.
Okay. Joe not gonna be here tonight.
No,
That's
he's
fine.
got duties elsewhere this evening.
No, I'm talking about.
Boy, Scott, I'm glad to see you. Glad you're here. We had a question for you.
Yay.
No, I was talking about John. I know John's over here, but it's Joe.
Like your shoulder.
No, I don't think so. I was kind of
Joe.
hoping. Now,
We got Dave.
Danny Toller is cleaning up. a little bit. I was hoping he'd be here.
That's John's.
I got it. Oh my God, it's her birthday.
Okay, I will officially call the May 10th, 2021, 6:30 meeting of the Westport Town Council to order. And also I want to extend a welcome to everyone that's in the audience and also those that will be joining us on the internet. So we always begin our meeting with the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first thing on tonight's agenda, and thankfully it's probably this has been the shortest one, about 16 months. It's going to be kind of a welcome change this evening. But the minutes were given out through the email. Joyce, did you get a chance to read them?
I did get a chance to read him and I saw nothing that needed to be repaired.
There's no
Everything was
additions
good.
or corrections. If not,
And I make the motion to accept.
stand is read. Okay, thank you. But all in favor? Aye. Okay, next is the approval of funeral deeds, payroll vouchers, adjustments, and our monthly bills.
I have read all of those too, and I make the motion that we sign them after the meeting.
I will second that motion. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Rachel, you're up on the water project.
You guys have my update memo, so
Yes, sir, do.
I'll try to keep it quick. The biggest update to talk about is the building, the masonry work on the building is done. The roof is not on yet, they're working on that now. Put some pictures in here for you. I don't know how they're printed out. But in the memo, there's some pictures. I also attached a little schematic of what the water meter looks like inside the pit, because I know we talked about should be,
I have plenty here, but none of them that.
look like this one on the front.
Well, it says the same thing, but this one here is from April 2nd. Oh, excuse me,
Okay.
May 5th.
Anyway, okay, so I think we talked a while back about what the water meter is actually in the pit in your yard. Specifically, if you could drive over it and that sort of question. They're not designed to be driven over by a vehicle, like a car or a truck. If your lawnmower drives over it, it should be fine. Four-wheeler should be fine. Don't park on it. Don't park your, just to be safe. And if it does damage something, it's gonna damage this piece. It goes through the lid. The meter part is down here. So it'll still work. Even if you try to damage it, it'll still work. It's just they're gonna have to go out, fix it, and then manually read it. So it's more labor and you have to replace the part.
So Rachel, the only thing they could possibly break is this top nut in the end antenna.
It's just gonna, you would just shove it through.
They would shove the end antenna through and break the top nut and that's all that would be replaced is the top nut. They
Unless,
ready.
Unless you have your deck engaged.
unless
Oh.
you,
And
yeah.
I already got one that's gonna hit my mower.
Oh,
You
really?
actually-
No, they have to have a new mower, because I mean, the meter pit itself is far out of ground.
The meter pit itself.
Yes,
damage,
it's a high one.
The whole
They
thing.
must have turned around on it or something.
Oh, really?
Because they only stick up a tiny little bit out of the.
Right.
Some people mow almost all the way to the dirt.
Mine is all the way under the lid, isn't it?
That's because yours is
In the
drive
driveway.
path.
the drive, yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully that helps clear up some
Right.
questions. that you may have about 'em. I have for Cinnamon, I have a pay request this month and a change order. I did want to touch on the change order. The pay request is, I'm sorry, I don't have the numbers written down here, but it's 248,483.81, and it brings them to 35% complete, which I would say they are. The building's up, equipment's been ordered, we got a lot of pipe in the ground. I did get a pay request from Division B, the guys you've seen around town, but they didn't get all their backup documentation to me yet, so we'll do it next month. The change order, and I did email this to you, Damon, and we can talk about it Thursday if you want to go back and forth a little bit. It includes the remote monitoring, which we talked about at a previous meeting, basically allowing the guys to be able to access the security system on their phone to see if things are running, monitor things from their office.
And a question about that, quick one, Rachel.
Sure.
In light of what happened down in Florida, when was it? Earlier this year, that they hacked into that system. No matter if they hack into our system, nothing's gonna happen, right?
We can do different things with this remote monitoring. So we can make it so that all they can do is see it. All the guys can, and it'll have a password. There'll be security on it. You can make it so that if you log in remote, all you can do is see it, but you can't change anything. You have to actually go to the plant to change things, or turn off an alarm or something. Or we can make it where, and I'm sure there's, the people that put these software programs together know all the security stuff. But there are options where they could actually change things from the computer here. We'll look into, and Damon and I can talk to the contractor about this, what the different options are for that, and make sure we pick one that's going to be secure enough that you guys are comfortable with it. At a bare minimum, it'll give them the opportunity to see what's going on, to see if they need to go out there.
All right.
And then once they get there, everything's locked up.
Okay.
I can make a motion and we go ahead and with these bills from the money.
I will
What was the
second that motion.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye. And
It's me. I will sign on this.
so,
And you can try it afterwards if you want. There's two copies.
yeah, you can do that.
I'll go ahead, Rachel, while you finish up. I'll sign.
Division B, everybody's kind of seeing what they're working on in town. They're almost done with doing the service lines. I think there's been some on and off of the water, some issues. I think we got it figured out now, and you know what happens when you dig in the road. So
Been awful for those folks up there.
they will, and
It'll
it
be
will be
better.
done
I
soon.
keep telling them it'll be
We'll
better.
get the road paved, and it'll be nice when we're all done. The last thing on the water project I wanted to touch on was maybe Scott can provide a little more insight in this. We're still waiting, we're still waiting on the property owner's decision regarding.
Yeah, I wish I had an update on that. I did inquire again even today to see, and I've not heard back from their attorney. Their attorney is a guy named Ken Bass, he's an attorney in Greensburg. So I talked to him about a week ago. They have hired him to review the easements. I started discussing some of the things about the easements with him. It was apparent he didn't necessarily have the actual easement document. He thought they provided them to him, but maybe they didn't. So I forwarded those to him after I had that phone conversation, and then I've not heard back from him since. So I'm not sure where they're at. I know he had had conversations with the White's attorney before he even called me.
So in other words, we're not going with the galleon one?
That's
We are,
their attorney.
we're waiting for
Okay.
them their attorney to approve the easement document so they'll sign it. I just don't know where we're at with that because he's not gotten back to me after I provided those to him.
I had some conversation with the lady that lives on the white property. And they put them out and they don't know nothing. They won't tell me. So I kind of filled her in, but, they were asking way too much for it. And she couldn't believe it. And I'm thinking, believe it. Not lying.
I had some conversations with the galleon's attorney about that. I didn't get the sense that they were gonna be unreasonable about it, but he wanted to go through it and he had questions about what the Whites had asked for because
Yeah.
his client wants the same thing. And I said, well, wait a minute now.
Maybe.
That maybe not what, So he wanted to review them, and then he said, I will discuss it with them and get back to you, and that's, unfortunately, that's the last I've heard.
Have you talked to the guy?
Yeah, I talked to him, and I got an email about that. He thinks it's worth more than what we offered him, but he doesn't, I'm not gonna spend 30,000, so.
28.
Yeah.
He said he'd figure out a number, and let us know, but it's last I've heard.
And maybe that's what they're waiting on, is maybe he's waiting on a number to get back to me, I don't know, I just haven't heard from their attorney. And I'm not allowed to talk to them directly without going to the attorney. So.
All right. All right.
So the only impact I see this having on the project, other than the added cost, is the time. Because America is gonna run out of work to do and they're gonna leave.
Right, and then we'll get it back when we leave.
I talked to Damon and Mark about a possible plan B, where we would, instead of doing the loop, maybe put a booster pump and a hydro tank at the school that would be owned by the town. Obviously, a loop is better. You can actually go in the future, you know, water stays circulated more, it's fresher, but if we want to provide the pressure and the quantity to school and we can't do it with the loop, we may have a plan B. So.
At the rate we're going to do it.
If that's the case, you could shut off rural water possibly completely and run schools.
Yes,
Well,
especially with those summers coming to school.
possibly.
Just something
Rural
we
water
need to
did not
think
give
about.
us, they did not give us the bulk rate.
I know, it was
Providing
crazy.
Didn't give any discount at all.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes me wonder now, had we went ahead and put that grid station there so that we can provide it with the school. But hindsight's always 20/20, aren't we? You know, we thought we was doing the right
And
thing.
if we do look into this alternate, I would want to have some discussion with you about
Exactly.
where the pipe is in the ground now, and if we could replace it on some of these property owners' property because there's a pipe there now. If that makes any difference at all. Obviously, we wouldn't want to boost pressure in a line that's old and possibly first. So this is kind of where we are in town. With all the
Yeah.
issues we have. So anyways, things to think about. We may have a plan B, but for now, I think just wait and hope that this works out.
Seems like everybody gets dollar signs in their head, I guess, at some point, and we're trying to work around that.
That's true, Scott. You're right. Is there any, are you done? Is there any questions for Rachel? All right, they're not being one, we'll move on to the next topic and the next,
Harry,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
When the plant itself changed to masonry. Is that really in the plant?
We bid it at masonry and we had a mandatory alternate to do it with the steel.
Okay.
The price actually came back more expensive to do it with the steel
Okay.
with our contractor, which I was shocked at the time, and we've since bid another project on the exact same thing. But we actually bid it as steel and they came back and said they wanted to do masonry.
It looks
Feels
good.
very expensive right now.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
part of it,
75%.
part of it has to do with COVID and the
Yeah.
supply of the steel, I think. So I wouldn't have ever guessed that masonry would be cheaper than, but
Okay.
it does,
Yeah.
I think it looks really
Yeah.
nice, yeah.
Okay.
Is that,
Yeah, and I do have a question about the wireless meters. Damon, are they working?
They're excellent.
Okay,
They're very nice.
all right, cool.
We're still working out a few bugs.
Not tonight, not often.
Yeah, it's not as nice in the office, but I mean, it's literally a handful of meters, so it's not, well, maybe 20 or 30 of them are having issues with. I mean,
We're having issues with the whole system syncing together, so I don't know.
It's horrible.
Yeah, they told us it'll get better, but we've really struggled in the office. It's taken a lot to do the billing the last 3 months.
And they're still gonna come back and tidy stuff up.
and that's where some people during this transition period that we're going through on this is people's been patient, in other words, some of them haven't been. And so, but we'll get through it and get everything ironed out and get on down the road.
The guy behind the Dairy Queen, Bolton,
I'm sorry.
the guy behind the Dairy Queen contacted me.
Yeah.
And I sent him You guys' way, where they had dug up. Go up the back, out the Dairy Queen, the back ways on the left.
Yeah, they haven't went around today still.
Okay, all right, good enough, good enough.
Like the picture used to be.
Yes, yes,
Just need to clean up.
Yeah.
But that's, I think that's more or less everywhere all over town.
Yeah.
We'll make sure they do that
Yeah,
before
there's
they,
nothing.
before they're
I
off.
just tell people like you know, it'll eventually all be cleaned up and we'll all be better for it.
It just takes
It
time,
does take a lot of time.
takes time.
Took a lot of years to get this nasty, so.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding. That's another issue, but anyway, moving on. Anything else for Rachel? Nobody has any other questions? Okay, the next thing on the agenda is, and it had come up here in the last couple of meetings of how out front here, this, of course, the road that runs right by here and the youth center for the Baptist church is called Government Avenue, Government Alley.
Government alley.
I thought, oh, okay, I
It's
thought.
not
they-
allowed to be a street.
Okay, that's right. Anyway, Government Alley. And then you got Johnson Avenue going this way, then you got between the post office and the pizza going this way part way. So what we're wanting to do is you come in between Pizzalicious and post office and you just make a loop around like this. And that way, because they've got their parking angle toward the building. And so instead of having, at times, there's been people try to go both ways. And so we just want to do, I guess you'd call it housekeeping type of thing.
Right.
And pass a ordinance and making that alley one way going north. So you can go around like this.
So, we've talked about this a lot. and it's
Yes, we
Been
have.
brought up, and this is our last time to bring it up. Is that right, Scott?
What do you mean last time to bring it up?
I mean, don't we have to have public meeting on this every time? We've had this at a public meeting to make this a one-way.
We gotta have an ordinance.
Yes, that's what we want to pass here, an ordinance to make that.
Do you have an ordinance?
We will now.
You're the man.
Well, that's what I mean, we don't have one. I didn't know we were having an ordinance.
Yeah, we need one.
Okay.
Your expertise, but we wanted to discuss it again, see if there's public comment
I
on
see
it.
what you're saying.
And which there is none. Okay.
So, yeah, because I just want to,
Yeah.
you want to get a drawing of it and then just, I guess it's one way north, is it directly north then?
Right.
Yeah.
And that'll clear up some of the confusion, because you got part of it's two-way going this way, one-way going this way. I guess two-way going this way, and then one-way going this way, and we'll just clear up all the confusion.
Clears mud.
Yes,
there.
it's confusing when I'm talking about it. Okay, the next,
hang on.
oh,
Where you got a sign on the drugstore pointing this way.
Yeah.
If you're gonna change that, that's gonna have to come down
Mhm. Just
and
take
we'll
the
wait
arrow
what you
off.
put it on the side.
I'm sure you will.
On the new signs you put up,
Yeah, it's got a covered bridge.
It
on
just has a sign stating this is the town hall. Well, yeah, and it is, but it doesn't mean you drive this way, but whatever. You know what
I
I'm
see what
talking?
you're saying.
But it's got an arrow. It's got an arrow.
It's gonna be very confusing for people if you don't
Absolutely.
do
Right.
something with it. I mean,
Yeah, we got to figure out what we're going to do with that.
I know this group of girls likes to go around and paint, we could have paint something over the arrow.
There you go.
Only if it's permanent forever and nobody gripes
That's
about
all
it.
right.
yeah, we'll figure it out. Well, yeah, thank you, Barbara. We'll figure something out. Let's-
Yeah, we'll get that took care of.
You hear that, Keisha?
I hear you.
Okay.
But you're right. The
Mine
sign
is
is
too.
correct.
Right, it does, and we will, and that's part of it. The next thing is on the agenda of scheduling condemnation of or public hearings. What that was, we were to get John involved in the process, and we were talking about having those once a month. About what, 2 o'clock? Can we do it that way, Scott? Can we have afternoon
As
meetings?
long as you have it scheduled enough time to give notice.
All right. Because what we're running across now since then, or since last time we had a meeting, we've had 2 fires and 2 building or a mobile home gutted and a house gutted. So now that's 2 more on the agenda we're gonna have to deal with. And we got some other issues.
No, the trailer wasn't abandoned. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
cooking
Oh,
dinner.
that's right, he was.
Yeah, he was
cooking.
fixing, he was
Yeah,
fixing
he was
dinner.
cooking.
But the house is what was, there wasn't anybody in that.
No, they were working on it, weren't they? And
Yeah.
he
No,
left.
the trailer,
On the house.
yeah, he had just left. He said he'd been there 20 minutes prior to.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he had to go. I mean,
So how much notice do we need to give people to attend that need to be there for their property or whatever?
At least 10 days.
So do we need to go ahead and schedule one?
They got-
and get it?
There's a couple of things that, the way the ordinance is written, there's certain things that you're not required to have a hearing on.
All right,
But if you're gonna have them to tear it down or remove it or repair it, then you have to have a hearing.
all right.
You just have to make sure you give them at least 10 days notice.
We're really not in the business of condemn anyone's building, but don't not pay attention when things like this happen and garbage and dead dogs in the houses and what in the world? What else can we do?
Well, and Scott, I'll stop right here because Damon and I, we went to, and I had a question about that, went to a Foster's house. They've completely abandoned the property. They have trash and garbage bags everywhere. They don't even live in this town anymore. Okay, it's gonna cost, what would you say, Damon, several $1,000s to get it clean?
I'm sure, I'm guessing there's gonna be 4 or 5 dumpsters over there stuff just in the yard.
Okay, Scott,
You can clean it up
if,
and then bill them for it.
well,
How can they, I mean,
yeah,
I understand. I mean, that's the thing. If you can't get payment, I mean,
well,
and then
okay,
what happens? Does the town take the property?
We already
Put a
have
lien on
over.
it.
we
you would
already
have to,
over
you would have a lien on
$1,000
their
in liens.
utility bill.
well, that's, who would we go back to, like?
You put a lien on it.
If a person, we put a lien on it.
You put a lien
okay.
on the property, so if it ever gets sold, then you'd be paid then.
So if the bank takes it back over, they still,
If
whoever
they
buys
share,
it.
if they sell it at a sheriff's sale, then that lien would have to be taken care of.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's what I didn't know. The full price of what lien we have on it will have to be
It becomes a
paid.
lien, just like a mortgage, you know, it become a lien. So if
Okay.
anybody takes that property, they would either take it subject to the lien, but on a sheriff's sale, it has to go free of any liens, so they would end up having to pay it. So if you ever been to a sheriff's sale, most of the time, the mortgage company bids, that has the mortgage credit bids what they're owed on it.
All right,
And then if there's a lien on it, they'll take care of it, because they can't sell it without that lien being taken off. of it.
Oh, okay.
okay, I have another question too, and this, you've been with me for about a year and a half now. I know I get some harebrained ideas. Can the town go to sheriff's sale and bid on property?
I think anybody can bid on it.
Okay, because here was my thought, it's just a thought. That if we're gonna go to such a great expense to clean up a piece of property, which it is horrible. I went over to Damon, I thought I'd seen it all, but I guess I haven't. But it's horrible, so it's gonna be several $1,000s to even clean that back up. And I didn't know if we were going to get anything back out of that, so my thinking was if that goes up on a sheriff's sale to try to buy it and then flip the house.
I think the issue is, does the town want to be in the business of owning real estate and flipping it?
We don't.
Um,
But what can we do about people running out and leaving their dogs in the house to die?
That was just a rumor.
I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't know if you have an animal control.
I know the
you call
animal control got involved.
oh, they did? Is that a substantiated deal or is that just rumor?
I don't think I can say a lot about that.
Oh, okay, all right, all right.
Well, there's also animal cruelty, criminal statutes. that,
Criminal charges
Could be
for that.
brought.
Okay.
Somebody get a complaint.
So that's how we do it. We just clean it, put a lien against the property and then
Well,
they
you bill them
lien.
first, if they don't pay it, then it becomes a lien against the property.
Okay. But what I was concerned, Scott, about protecting the town's interests, I mean, it's one thing going, sending somebody over there to mow. But then it's another thing, because that's not the only piece of property we've got, we may have to dig into things like that, and it's gonna be, start racking up a cost with, no return on what we're getting back, and
I
even
mean,
though,
I guess your alternative is to allow it to continue to be
No,
junk.
No, we can't. I was over there today. It's gonna be rats, cockroaches, and everything. It's horrible.
What's the address, Terry? What's
Seven.
the address?
705.
You can't miss it. Just head out there going toward the elementary school. You know where Doug Einhouse lives over there?
Oh,
Across the
across the street.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah, well, you walk
it wasn't
property.
that many years ago that somebody had that and fixed it up really nice, and then they must have sold it to someone else, but,
But it's
Remember?
completely abandoned.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
completely
with
abandoned.
everything in it. Not the only one in town that's been that way. The yellow house below me, same one.
Yeah, we got two of them now, just been abandoned properties and,
Did they
and,
abandon that after the flood? But below you?
well, thanks, Scott, because I didn't know that. I was kind of worried about a misuse of taxpayers' money and all this expense to get to cleaning all this up, nothing coming back in
I
return.
certainly think if it's cleaning it up, it's not a misuse of taxpayer funds.
All right.
Obviously, you know, property values around it should go up if the property is
Right.
clean, so,
Okay.
I mean, there is benefits to other, you know, citizens as a result of properties being cleaned.
Okay.
What do you think, Brian?
Gloria, have you done a lien since you've been clerk?
I've done several liens, and I wanted to ask you a question about that. We filed a lien in 2019 on a home, and it was a sheriff's sale, and when I called to collect, they said, sorry, but we ran out of money, so you don't get your lien paid. So I wondered, are there exceptions to where they don't pay the liens at sheriff's sales?
Yeah, well, you'd be talking about two different things too, because there's sheriff sales and there's also tax sales. You know, sheriff sales are normally where you're in a foreclosure process and the bank is owed a certain amount of funds. And then it comes down to when your lien was recorded. And in order to protect your lien, sometimes you have to go to the sheriff's sale and actually bid your lien in order to protect it.
Okay, I was wondering about
That's what I
that
wanted
then.
to know.
If
Because-
it's after the mortgage, because we're talking about two different things, you know, the bank's usually has a first lien on it. And if we put a lien on it, we're second lien because of the timing.
Right,
If
and
we
that's
were
what they
first,
told us, there wasn't enough money to
If they
pay
were
out.
first, so what you have to do, and this is where the town wouldn't probably potentially collect it on a lien, if you're a second lien holder, you go to the sheriff's sale, the bank there, they usually credit bid what they're owed. So let's say it's $100,000 they're owed, they'll bid $100,000. They don't have to come up with $100,000 because they've already got the first lien on it for $100,000. If nobody else is there to bid, they will get it for the $100,000. So the town would have to be there and say, well, we bid $100,000 and $1,000, you know, $100,000 plus $1,000, whatever our lien is. And then we would actually take the property and then potentially sell it to get our lien paid out of it. It's not the greatest
Right,
scenario.
they owe almost 2,000, and half of that is liens that we've already put on that property.
Most liens that would get paid are normally when there's a sale, because if somebody wants to sell it, the title company is not going to insure title unless all the liens are paid off.
So we'll have to come up with something, because it was due for sheriff's sale last fall, so it'll be coming back up.
That's what we.
I mean, unfortunately, there's not a whole there's not great mechanisms to be paid, even on liens.
Yeah.
You do the best you can to protect what you're owed, but you can't get blood from a turnip a lot of times, and there's no debtors prisons in the United States, so you can't put
Right.
somebody in prison.
And-
And so you just try, and I do a lot of collection work, and you just chase people, and you're chasing them all the time. It takes a lot of time and effort to collect.
Right.
And so, you have to go into it understanding that if you go and expend this money, you can put a lien on it, but there is absolutely no guarantee that you'll get those funds back.
And that's what I wasn't clear about, Scott. So when I was just throwing ideas out there, I didn't know. And I know the town doesn't want him to get in competition and start that we're going to sheriff's sale, picking up properties and flipping properties. The only time that I was curious about is in this example where we've got already fines against it. We're going to put even more money into it to clean it up, and we're trying at least to get. And then Gloria told me that story where we only got, went up for sale and we got so little amount, and a decision the town council had to make it. We got to do something, and I'm just trying to minimize the impact of the financial part of it, of what we do, and try to give the money back. That's all.
What is your feelings about small claims versus a lien?
Yeah, I mean, you can file small claims, but then again, if the person doesn't have any money and they're not employed, you're not gonna get your money back. I mean, I've gone to get a judgment, so you have this nice piece of paper that says you're at this amount of money, but
Then you
sometimes that
then you
money,
can ask for a body attachment. And you're not-
only if they fail to appear at a hearing, not if they don't pay. And you have to have, and now the law's changed where you actually have to give them specific notice for a proceeding supplemental for them to be at a hearing. If they fail to appear that, they don't issue a body attachment. You gotta then file a rule to show cause. They have to be hand delivered by the sheriff, that notice, before they'll issue a body attachment. And that's only if they fail to
We
appear.
just got one back.
If they come to the hearing and, say, I don't have any money, I'm not employed, or they're on social security, which you can't garnish, judge is gonna look at it and say, well, this is uncollectible debt.
System is not made for,
For the honest person.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very, I mean, I have a lot of clients frustrated and they're wondering why they can't get their money from somebody, and there's just, you're limited as to what you can do.
And I understand that, Scott. We're just curious, but after seeing what I'm trying to wrap around, and you've helped me do that, we're starting to see a succession of them, and moving forward, how do we deal with this issue and what's different avenues we can go?
I would say most people that if you threaten a lien or put a lien on their property, that prompts them, a normal citizen would say, I need to take care of that, but you're always gonna have the individuals that just toss it in the trash and don't really care about it at all, so.
All right, thank
Now, Scott, with this particular situation, there's some neighbors volunteering to help clean it up. What's the liabilities if we say, sure, go clean it up, since it technically is still owned by somebody?
Yeah, I mean, it'd have to be after you condemned it and sent them notice that you're going to do this. I would think you'd rather potentially hire those individuals to do it rather than.
you. Well, that leads me
And you're
to,
always gonna have some liability out there. It doesn't sound like a very bad idea, really. I mean, if you have a group that would wanna do it, but there is liability issues out there.
and that raises another question, just out of curiosity. If an employee not on their own time, not being paid by the town, that they decided, that person offered to say, hey, would you clean up our property, is that town employee able to do that?
If the town would wanna hire them as a basically as a subcontractor for some
Or we
sort of
can't
rate,
do that?
I would think you could do that. It's outside of their daily duties.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
That's how my Kitchener mowed the cemetery for years.
okay. I just want
Yeah, you just hire
to
them as a subcontractor
Had a
and have a
specific problem.
subcontracting agreement with the.
they're working as a
individual.
subcontractor.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what all. I need.
independent contractor.
Okay. I'd wondered, and that question was raised, I wanted to be sure we were doing it the legal way, and
In order to protect the town, you'd have an independent contractor agreement that says that they're not an employee, they're required to pay all the taxes for any payments that they receive. They have to have insurance, or they're gonna indemnify the town if anything were to happen. You'd have a standard independent contractors agreement.
oh, okay, well, that's good to know. Did you have any other questions?
So for us to be able to go in and hire somebody to clean it, we still need to condemn it first and
Yeah.
have this hearing.
Yeah.
So no matter what.
You gotta give them
So-
time, you have to give them a notice and an opportunity to clean it up. If they don't, within the deadline that you've given them that notice, which is 10 days, and they don't do it, then the town can then go in after they do it.
Can
And
we,
then
can we
bill
do
them,
that?
and bill them for the charges.
We have a mowing ordinance that says that we give them 10 days to go in and mow. I've already sent that one and they're way overgrown and they're past the 10 days. So can we go in under that ordinance and go ahead and do the mowing?
Yeah, I think you can. I haven't looked at the ordinance, but I'm assuming it's like any other mowing ordinance I've seen that would allow you to then go in and do it and then bill them for whatever it is the cost to mow.
But we can still condemn it and then clean the junk and the trash and all that.
Well, like them, we're okay if we do a condemnation hearing, or we all go through it, because they won't show up, because they're living away in another town somewhere, they have no intentions. We still have a public hearing, they don't show, but we've still got the record that we've gone. given
That's
the
what you wanna do,
opportunity.
because
Okay.
ultimately, if they're gonna complain, they're gonna be filing something in court, and that's where we wanna have all the documentation where
Okay.
they had a public hearing, they had notice. We gave them the opportunity to fix the problem, they didn't. We fixed it, here's who we hired to fix it, here's the bill we have for we're fixing the issue, and we're requiring them to pay it.
Okay, well, I understand that's where the route we're gonna have to go on some of these. All right,
And you don't have to, and you don't have to set the hearings at a public meeting. You guys can decide when you want to have these hearings, because the order that I prepared to give them notice is all, whenever Damon wants to, the letter's coming from him, because he's the one that's gonna enforce this ordinance.
right.
Whatever days you guys decide to have these hearings, we just need to put in that order. You don't have to set those hearings at a public meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't want to do them at the town council meeting because that ties up too much time.
Yeah, I can see, you get somebody who comes in with several witnesses, because they are entitled to have counsel, they're all entitled to present with, evidence of. So it could take a little while.
We thought, well, we gotta
If you have 5
work.
or 6 and nobody shows up, it doesn't take very long at all.
Yeah, well,
That's
that's
right.
true.
I have a feeling that this is not, we won't even get any response from this.
And it's,
And then we just go in and then you have the authority to go in and clean it up.
all right.
The town board does one who's actually enforcing the orders, correct? That's their opinion.
You're enforcing it. They're the ones that will actually do the condemnation public hearing.
I'm real, I think that's pretty clear. Well, it looks like we gonna get started on it. Okay, next on the agenda, is switching insurance brokers.
Terry, this was suggested to me. We work with a broker that is familiar with municipalities, and it's only through our Colonial Life, which is our supplemental insurance. And he suggested that we consider switching to him, taking over all of our insurance programs. Mainly because he's a lot more familiar with the municipality
There you go, yeah.
needs. The fact that we're a small town, we have less than 10 employees that are full-time with benefits. He was suggesting some offers out there that we do not have access to currently with the brokers that we're with Johnson, Whitcamper, and Columbus. He had actually made a proposal 3 years ago to save us $10,000, and we didn't move forward with that. But we've continued working with him on the supplemental. Damon's familiar, Billy Kirkham is the insurance broker, and he's expanded over the last few years. He's continued expanding services. He was just medical. Now he's also property insurance as well, and can offer a fuller picture. So he suggested that if we were interested in switching at some point, that we could sometime during the year. He's going to get me some paperwork, and we may want to invite him to meet him and see what you think of him. But he provides excellent customer service, and that's something that I really was attracted to him for. Our current insurance providers are offering our basic needs, but we've had some just employee concerns with the dental, with the vision insurance. It's not real great. It's not accepted at a lot of the providers in our community. We're also under United Healthcare, and we've looked at seeing what kind of options there would be with Anthem Blue Cross, because a lot of the providers we've went to have either they've under the United Healthcare they're requiring like a high deductible, like someone goes in for treatment and they have to pay $60 up front before they go into treatment, whereas some of the other providers didn't do that before. And when I worked with the state, I had Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and there wasn't the high deductibles that there are with this. So just looking for some options, and also wanting to save the town some money. And Billy is pretty confident that he can save us some money and also offer better insurance policies for us, especially with the dental and vision. So I just wanted to throw that out there and get that kind of started and get you guys thinking about that.
Okay, Gloria, I'm gonna leave that up to you if that's all right with you.
I think,
I know that you're gonna do what's right, and I agree with you on the Anthem instead of the other one. I mean, I think they're all good insurance, but I think the Anthem would probably give us a little more freedom to not pay so much.
when we first started the new town council here, we were going to start looking at everything. We're going to throw everything on the table and look at everything from top to bottom. And nothing was off the table, and even if it was a harebrained scheme, we was gonna try to start thinking outside the box of doing things. And see what's possible and what wasn't possible. And Scott Andrews was an addition in the direction we wanted to go. Another one was looking and getting our ordinances lined up and getting things done to position the town and start trying to swing the ship around and move in a different direction than what it's going previously had been going. And on top of that, we talked about switching insurance brokers and looking because we were looking for more services and some last year, I think would even set up for safety training, wasn't it? And we need to have, we're behind the curve on that. We need employee safety training to be going through all the time and keep up current with that. We've got to keep up with the current government regulations and everything that's coming down. And if different insurance broker will help us achieve that goal, then for less money and better dental and other health care, and can do it that way, then I was open to looking at another insurance broker. So Gloria helped and talked around, and that's I was going to bring up for the town council, give her permission to go ahead and explore it further, Joyce, and have these brokers come here to a public meeting where we can discuss things with them and give her the permission to do that.
I think Gloria should go ahead and do that, and I don't think you have to bring that up at a public meeting. Would we just, among us, give us all a copy of what, and then we can tell you the days or nays, what we feel about it, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
But I grant you, if it's cheaper and you're happy with it, we're going to be happy.
Okay, next on the, well, actually, last on the agenda is the police car proposal for 2022. Okay. And this is, I would like to formally request a budget for a new police vehicle for the 2022 operating year. The car that I'm operating currently is a 2014 Ford Police Interceptor. Currently has 131,000 miles on it. And that number continues to grow each day patrolling Westport. Since I have had this car, there's been roughly $3,500 sent in major repairs for continued operation. I also had several comments from town citizens about the major dent in the driver's side and small dents around the car. I've spoken with 3 different dealerships in reference to a new Dodge Durango Pursuit police vehicle. I had them quote me each with the same options, and I have crunched the numbers to come up with an appropriate budget for the vehicle. Included in this price is the upfitting cost of new lights and install. I would like to ask the town to budget $50,000 for this new vehicle for the 2022 budget. This number should cover any and all costs of the vehicle itself and for the upfitting. If the budget is approved, I can provide more detailed quotes if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you for your time and consideration, Shane. Like something that Shane, as the deputy marshal, wants to put on. What we start planning for the budget, what, August,
No.
July,
Now,
June, now?
Yes. I need to have everything entered by June
Well,
15th.
good.
Had we not, had we not discussed the new vehicle this year? We did, didn't we?
Not my department.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the wrong one to look
I'm
at.
not over it.
I don't remember us discussing.
I think we have
Did we?
discussed it, haven't we?
Not really, but there was, last year Shane and I pursued a grant situation because we were told that we were gonna get 75% of the reward. So we're like, well, hey, if that's it, we could afford to get one this year. When we went through the paperwork and submitted it, we found out we were only approved for 30%. So Shane talked to me a little bit about that this year, and we're still gonna do that grant. We would have to be able to to say we can cover 50%, but if they would pay up to 30% of it, we're talking, hopefully we would be paying more like 30,000 for the vehicle. That being the case, I told Shane that I thought it was affordable. We currently in our public savings have, in our public safety fund, we have a little bit over 30,000. So I know by the end of the year we'll have that. The 50,000 mark is a little high, and we would have to look at some other funds to see if we can find that other 20,000 in case the grant didn't go through. But I'm working with Marcia, and I think that we'll be able to at least get some assistance with getting the police car. So my thought is that we can afford it and we can pursue it. Do I think we can afford any other vehicles? No, that's a pretty high purchase. And so we'd have to kind of look at all departments and see if there's a vehicle needed anywhere else. But
Well, I know we had new vehicles for the street department. Was it 2 years ago or 1 year? 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, Water Street got one, Water.
Water and sewer got one. So I think that this is what I think, Lori, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. If we would just take care of one of these each year until we can, you know, I would hate to have to buy it all at one time. We can't do that. So we have to look at, you know, moving them around to where we can. And yes, I would say, yes, you need to pursue this. for
We'll make
next
that a
year.
motion.
I'll make the motion that we put that in the budget next year and try to at least get the vehicle that we need for the town.
I will second that. All in favor? Aye. And for those out in the audience, don't forget, just because we come up with a budget, we
Don't mean we
submit
have
that
to
to
do
the
it.
state, and the state they can come back and say, hey, we're not gonna give you this much money, so then we have to go back through the budget and start cutting.
Lori, would that fit into any of the categories that would be under the COVID funds that were coming to the town?
so far, no, because they're saying, I pulled it here just in case it was asked. The categories right now are to respond to the public health emergency with respect to COVID, a response to workers performing essential work duties, so like payroll, and then a provision of government services to the extent of the reduction of revenue. And what they've been telling us is if any government agencies have lost funding based on what they made in 2019 versus what they made in 2020, if there's a loss, then we can supplement that loss in their budget.
I just wondered whether or not, since the police department is essential worker, whether or not there would be some way to be able to make an argument that it could potentially fall within
Right.
this category.
I mean, it's for the COVID, anything that they've said was affected by COVID, they're saying negative economic impacts such as assistance to households, small businesses, nonprofits, or aid in impacting industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. If they would put law enforcement in there with that, it would be perfect, but they didn't. And there's not been a lot of detail yet. There's been a lot of people asking a lot of questions, but there hasn't been a lot of explanation from anybody yet as to what all we can use this for. We do have until, I think, 2024 to come up with a plan and figure it out. So I've been watching webinars and soaking in information and hoping that we'll get some more guidance. D is one that everybody's jumping on of this section because it says you can use it for necessary investments in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. So a lot of people are jumping on that because they need funding there. But it sounds like we're probably going to get a lot of funding from rural development already for that. So I'd like to see us to be able to put some in the law enforcement. There was talk about their parking lot over there. The parking lot over there is a mess. The alley is flooding. We've got all kinds of issues around the police department on the outside structurally that needs to be done. But so far, I'm not seeing where it says we can use it, but I'm hoping they'll come out with some.
Yeah, I think that I'm trying to make the argument that's for public safety, not necessarily law
Yeah.
enforcement, but public safety, you know, that. I don't know, it was just a thought. I know-
Hospitality to our
Yeah.
community. I'm
Well, I
not
mean,
sure. I'm
you make the
trying to.
argument, maybe
Yeah.
you'd have more people here for hospitality if you had a stronger a
Right.
police force, I mean, I know I've heard from a lot of different other towns, and some of this is vague, so it's,
Yeah.
what kind of arguments can you be made to try to fit into one of those?
I think
For
we've
certain
even
funding, so.
mentioned probably before Brian even left that we needed to get that parking lot over there done. So if we was to fill out more paperwork for street department, was we going to add that to one of those?
Well,
grants?
Damon's still working on trying to get some estimates, because we even were looking at, could we somehow put it in the budget somewhere?
Right.
And fit that in there, especially now that there's some stormwater issues over there. But we need some estimates to figure out what kind of costs we're looking at.
Got it.
The other thing we talked about with these funding was to assist the community building, because it also needs a lot of
Yes.
repairs. And that was a center where people went and got tested for COVID-19, and it could continue to be a center for things. So there's a lot of ideas on what we can do with this funding, but I'm hoping, kind of like last year, nobody spent the money for a long time, and then all of a sudden they came out and said, oh, hey, now you can use it for law enforcement payrolls and essential worker payroll. And then it was like, okay, now we got something to spend the money on, because before that, unless you were opening a hospital or something, you couldn't use the money. So
We made use of that.
yeah, we got our max reward from last year.
Okay,
Okay, that's, believe it or not, that's everything on the agenda this evening, so we will open it up to the floor. Oh, you got something?
Yeah, I got a couple things. One,
Sure.
I talked to the Hamptons up there for the stormwater project on one of the street. They've agreed to let us drain their water to their waterway. This is in the side right away for us. So did, Christie, well, help me out here, Joy, what's your last name?
Schneider?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Sure.
We've had to go through her yard with a field tile, and she said she would do all the sign that he's I went ahead and called a couple of companies to get bids on it. I know we don't have the money for it now, but at least we'll know what we'll need to do it, move forward.
Well, what we need to do as quickly as possible, so we can put that in the budget.
I don't think you understand how much it's gonna be. It's not gonna be a $10,000-$15,000.
No, I understand that. Can we do that?
But yeah, I
Can we do that, spread that out over a period of budgets? How can we do that? If we can't pay for the whole thing all up front one time, how do we do it?
I don't know. It's really gonna have to depend on what all is involved in that project. Maybe if there's stages. I know with paving in the past, we've been able to pay half of it one year and half of it another year, depending on where they're at in the phases. So it just would depend on what all's involved. I also know that we allow 50,000 a year for stormwater and sewer issues. So if we say, okay, next year, we're gonna mainly focus on this project, then maybe it's something that we can afford within that.
Okay.
Also, Mark has been contacting a couple engineer companies about GPS for the sewer lines. Do you want me to give these to you guys tonight? Basically what it is, we have nothing showing exactly where all of our lines are. I mean, it's always been Mark. I mean, Mark knows where they're all at. So one thing, Mark's gonna be gone.
and then we don't know where they are.
Yeah, so I obviously didn't say nothing, but nothing to vote on tonight, but one company, this one here was basically collecting the data. They would actually camera. They would actually come in, camera all the lines, verify all the lines, show, map exactly where all the laterals come into it. Which so that was that one there. This one here was much cheaper, but it has nothing, no camera. They just come in, they locate all the lines, map where they're at, and that's it. So like I said, it's nothing you have to vote tonight. It's something we're going to need to get done soon.
Oh, I agree.
And we're going to have to do the same thing with water, hopefully. The biggest problem with the sewer, this should have actually been done. But the last engineer company did the project, we found out that they didn't really map much. Some of the maps we do have are not correct. It's a lateral on each side of the house, we found it on the west side of the house. And nothing was verified.
What's the two prices?
The one with the Cameron was like 72,000, and the other one was Yeah, Brian, or not,
So what you're saying is this. Back when we had the sewers done, what, less than 10 years ago,
2012.
2012, the folks that were doing it did not have a map,
well, they did.
but we cannot use it anymore?
Well, it's not that we can't use it, it's just, it wasn't, nothing was verified. Like when they went down the lines, that's why we're still having, the sewer project we need to do is because there's,
It's not
the
done right.
filtration's getting in there somehow, and
I got
when
you.
you don't verify things, that, yes, this comes from the house, it could be a fill tile from 1970 dumping in, 1,000 gallons a minute into the sewer,
Mhm.
and none of that was verified.
Now, is this something that could be put into our wastewater project if we have to go that route?
We do have some budget in there for some investigation. I don't know that it's
Yeah,
inclusive of everything, but I'd have to check our budget and see what we put
yes,
in
we
there.
need to make
So
sure.
that would be a
this is-
start in getting us in the right direction.
And if it's not in there, we could talk to USDA and see if we could add it, to have this company do it.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
something
It
we're
would-
going to have to do.
It would kind
isn't
of be,
it? Eventually.
yeah, how,
Yeah.
the project is still a couple years away.
Right,
So
yeah.
maybe a timing thing, if you wanted to do it sooner than that.
But having a complete mapping of the system is probably not a bad idea, because Mark is eventually going to retire.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
But can-
yeah.
But can water and sewer afford it right now? I don't think so. Not at 72,000 cost.
No, I know, but it's something like we talked about, on a lot of things, looking forward, it's something we gotta do, and some of this thing we can't kick down the road anymore, we're gonna get in trouble for it, this is one.
I don't know.
Well,
I
it
don't-
depends on where.
Brian,
you-
this one's broke down. The best I'm coming up with is 22,000. This was like broke down here a little bit step. There's not really, you're more welcome to look at it.
No, that's okay.
That
Curious about the
is-
ballpark.
Yeah, but this one didn't include any camera or verifying, just basically finding the lines, mapping them.
Okay.
She may be
This
able
is where
to
it's
just
at.
add it in there, and then we see where we
You can give
land,
it,
and if, the
Thanks.
funds don't come back, that, you could always do it ahead of time.
And what about on the water side? Because if there's a potential that we're gonna have money left over at the end with our grant, could some of this be put on that?
Probably, yeah.
So
Well,
that's
let's-
another idea.
Let's look into that before we decide that we're not voting on nothing.
Oh, no,
tonight.
that's great.
Should I get these, sir?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
I was-
and then let us do that. Let's let Rachel check out.
Well,
this.
We can
work
talk
some
to
magic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can talk to the whole.
Like one of the problems, a lot of our lines nowadays is based solely on memory. And I know, I'm not getting.
pretty scary. isn't it?
Exactly. So,
I will say the water lines are gonna be a little bit harder to do.
Uh-huh.
You can't see, there's no manhole.
Right. But, that would
Wow.
be also things to put in the future soon, I hope for, finding all the water lines.
Well, and anybody could, something can happen to any of you, and it's gotta be common knowledge where anybody could step in and say, yeah, this is where everything's at, you're right.
Be nice. wouldn't
And, anyway, we won't go over what
it?
past is past and just move forward on it, so if we can incorporate that in way ration, we have money to do
Figure
that.
out
We
what's-
need to look into that, and make sure that's done. Okay. Okay. You're up.
All right. He's the new attorney, town attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Got in.
I don't know, it's so
Got
new.
He's not new, but he's,
Huh?
you haven't met him yet,
I haven't
but,
been.
but he is.
And first and foremost, I know, are you representing the police department tonight? I know,
What you're going at.
well, now, come on.
Not really, I'm actually just on duty and I'm required to be here as superintendent, so I will answer any questions I can.
Well, okay.
You got double duty tonight then.
First of all, thank you. I mean, I appreciate everything that you guys do for the town. I really, really do.
But there's a guy on a razor that's gonna come down my street going 60 miles an hour, and I'm gonna step out and I ain't gonna take a ball back. Now, how long do I get for that? First of all. But
Hey,
anyway,
it's up
no,
to the judge.
but anyway,
I would hit you.
our speed limit on our streets is 30 miles per hour. That is absolutely too fast. I have been down here for years. This is my third time down here trying to get somebody to lower that speed limit to 20. Not only for my grandson, who is making a paper airplane, but as myself, as I'm getting to be elderly, and you don't know how that hurts my feelings to say that.
No more than it does me.
But I don't walk like I used to, and I don't get around like I used to. And these guys are coming down our street on those razors. There's a red car, there's a black truck. And they're too fast. I can't get their license plates number. And first of all, they're there before you know it. You've got Garnet on our street that mows, and he can't hear that well, and he doesn't move fast. And I'm not only concerned about the children, I am concerned about the elderly. Because
Well,
we almost live in as senior citizens.
It's not just your street though.
but
Well, no, I know it isn't.
Main
I know
Street's
it's
for
not.
Dolores has said something we need to talk about just for the residential area in Westport, lower than 20 mile an hour.
It's somewhere from my street, Kathleen Drive, where they fly down. to the-
Oh, they do. I know they do.
Razors.
Scott,
We got to start somewhere, and I don't know where that starting point
it
is.
starts with the discussion right here.
Okay, well, I don't, if it's 20 mile per hour on Main Street, why isn't it that way on residential?
I think your standard is 30 miles an hour in urban areas. I mean, that's not your, yeah, it's not posted or, it's- that's just what most of them are. I'm not saying they can't be changed. Like if you go to another city, say Greensburg, Columbus, if you go to Forest Hill, whatever, if it's not posted, then it's urban areas 30 miles an hour. I mean, it would totally be up to the board to change the direction of, how they want to do the speed. So as far as pulling people over, if you don't want to pull so many people over, shit.
Oh, I
Everybody
know.
knows me, I am not afraid to write you a ticket.
Oh, well,
And some
and I
of them aren't
realize that.
ticket riders.
But I tell you, and it happens on all the residential
So it
streets.
does.
We have a lip off the edge now, okay? And they
Yeah.
get that just right, they're going to do themselves in by doing what they do, especially on some driveway areas. And just something really needs to be done, because my neighbors to the north of me, he doesn't hear it all, and he backs out, and if he doesn't, it wouldn't be a pretty sight.
Right.
So this kid, I don't know who this kid is, but he stands up, he thinks it's funny,
Does he do this after dark?
well, he has done it after dark, and he has also done it during the afternoon. And the other issue is, I also have a neighbor that is a little bit on the hot tempered side, and he
You're
has
gonna calm
already,
down.
he has already confronted him out in the street.
Where is it?
How old is he?
Who?
Can't drive, he got to be a certain age to drive
Well, I don't know.
on the road.
I can't catch
You know where he lives, or?
No, don't know where you got all day, and that's what I'm saying. He's there before you even know what's happening.
Right.
Usually you can hear something coming, but he's there. And I tried to track him down, but my golf cart was not going. My police vehicle was limited.
That's true. That's true.
But I'm just saying, the neighbor went out on the street and stopped him, and that ensued into kind of a situation. And that,
Screaming match.
well, I don't think it got there, but it almost did, because the kid took off.
Is it against the law for us to put a speed bump in?
Well,
And we don't want to get into that.
A razor don't care about a speed bump.
No, that's right.
Or you hit one of them with
No,
the razor.
In a car, yeah,
And the
they're
thing is,
off
we got school
road.
buses that go down through there and
Big
other
old shock.
things.
They
but-
don't even go fasting.
No, but I meant as far as putting speed bumps in.
I don't think you can.
Yeah,
Why is that?
yeah.
Dangerous.
They got two of them at the hospital.
Not to
that I
mention
wish
school
would
buses.
go out.
Bicycle hit, you flip over and you got.
Well, yeah,
That's
we-
something they can check on.
It certainly make
people.
people slow down.
I don't know where you're at.
yeah, so does a shotgun and a ball bat and rocks and everything
you
else.
go down my street catching,
You
you're
know.
gone.
Right.
You know what?
And
If you know who he is, find me, I'll be more glad to,
I'll
pay
have
for this. Talk to him.
My question would be is 20-mile-per-hour signs gonna do anything?
No.
Because
No.
we've got loose gravel over here in front of my house, and with David Mayor working, the one witnessed it happen. Someone just sped through there as fast as they could go, spinning gravel while the guys were working there on the side of the road. So I'm not so sure that they're gonna pay attention to a sign.
You can't fix stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, Dolores, let's use this for an open discussion. We can put the sign up, but they're disobeying this already. I mean,
Yeah,
what I'm saying, to make everybody happy, we could say, well, you feel better, put a 20-mile-an-hour sign, but that's not, we need to work this out. And Damon, if you see somebody, we have one of our officers go talk to that person and say, hey, you know, and follow that route versus
Well,
spending, changing all the signs in.
I'm just afraid that with the one situation that, it could get volatile.
Doris, try to get somebody, one of the kids or something, the next time you see him, try to find a license.
Yeah, and turn it into Damon and Joe
And we'll,
and have them,
get a picture.
no.
Yeah,
We could go on to it.
yeah, take a picture of it.
Yeah, get a picture of it. get the
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, who's next?
But Dolores, is that okay? I'd rather resolve
hey,
things that way and start
sounds
changing
like a
signs,
plan. I
putting
can do
speed
that.
bumps all over
I
town.
just hope I don't get mad, and hope he doesn't say anything. really
Well, no,
nasty.
don't do
Okay.
that. Just do it like Damon said, take a picture of it so we can get a description. We can go down and warn him and that he's being watched and then talk to him
Well,
about all of this.
after yesterday, we may never see him again because it was kind
Might be.
of.
But
But I mean,
we, in the atmosphere we're living in right now, and people doing what they're doing, we don't want to start escalating verbal arguments. We'd rather let the police handle it. Now, one thing I will say, and Damon knows this too, that we have been looking at Main Street more, and we've stopped a bunch of people on Main Street. And this excessive speeding on Main Street, you think they fly down your road, Main Street, some of them really.
yeah, they can really get happy.
And Damon and Joe and Shane have stopped several people now on Main Street, start getting that slowed down.
Is the ATV ordinance still, you can't have an ATV on the street?
Yeah,
Okay.
or you have the Ranger, the UTVs, not the.
Not the
Well,
ATVs.
I saw one of those, but he cut back by your mom's house and went straight on out toward the Legion.
All
He
right.
didn't come back down the street.
One night when I was down here watering, the little yellow, it had handlebars. I call it just a four-wheeler.
Call a truck.
He was flying through town and a county cop said, did you see the four-wheeler? And I said, he just went south on West Street. I don't know if he caught him or not. But it was a little yellow thing.
Yeah, I think that's the one I saw going on past your mom's house. Going out toward the
It,
Legion.
it has handlebars on it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
But we'll do it that way, Dolores, and my take on all this, and I could be wrong, that's, you can call us a town board or town council, or I like more legal, I guess, is town council, where we come together as a council to try to resolve situation things. Not only we have to make the ultimate decision, that's why Scott's always here to help us, and I appreciate it. He keeps me in line, I'm not doing something
Well,
that
we've needed.
later in July, that's true. But we're not doing anything that's illegal, or we're trying to do condemnation, and then we've opened up a loophole for somebody, because I didn't obey what the law is.
Right,
and doing all
yeah,
that. That's why
yeah.
Scott's been an excellent attorney on that. So, my thinking is, when I got on the town council, we will solve this together the best we can, and Joyce and I and John, and with the town employees, we'll take care of our part of it. And Joyce and John now do the legal part of it, but we'll come together in situations as they arise and work this out together. Okay, right?
We got back in the back.
Yeah, back in the back, you got anything? We'll start over here.
No,
Next.
Well, what do you about people stealing everything on porches?
Well,
People
there,
stealing shit on porches and everything, walking around here, they're been,
do you call the police?
oh yeah, I think got a court order for trespassing and stuff on what.
You know who it was?
Yeah,
And nothing can be done?
I don't know yet, I mean, that's what I'm waiting on.
oh, shoot.
The only thing that we can tell you is you need to call the police if somebody comes and
I
steals.
mean,
it.
no trespassing, it's court order, no trespassing, I got
Right.
it thrown out and everything, but you know.
I don't know
I
how,
don't know how we as a town board can't do anything about that other than call our policemen.
What about the road in the, behind daycare, you gotta put gravel on that, or we gotta pay for that?
oh, if,
What road behind?
An alley.
an alleyway,
The alley.
if it's got potholes in it, then I'll send Damon down, and we're looking if they need to be filled. We're not going to take and gravel whole road,
No,
but if it's got potholes where you're going to bottom out in it, we'll fill those in.
Well, yeah, you ever see my car, you want to get this off the ground?
Well, but what you need to do is come down to town, talk to Gloria, one of the other town employees, and say, I
They
live.
said I had to pay for it. Last time I
You
talked.
can,
No.
well, if it,
Well, let me break that down. If you're
right,
talking from here to here, you want all this done, no, we're not gonna do that.
No.
Now, if you're talking just filling in the potholes, we'll do that.
Yeah, I mean, and the sewer line runs down through the alley, I mean, you guys supposed to keep care of it, right, or not?
it's,
Yeah, but here's how that, we will take care of the potholes.
we'll put gravel on your alley if that's what you're asking.
Well, he's wanting us to do.
Well, I
We
mean,
can't resurface your road,
no, the alley through there, I mean,
but
It's not as far as from that,
uh,
between George and you, right?
no, from Georgia, you enter your corner.
Yeah,
They run behind your place.
behind me,
Yeah.
which I don't use it, I don't
Right.
care. But it's no longer from that door
That door.
to this first door.
right, we'll put some gravel there.
It's that
But
far.
see, what is all the water, like you got saying about the over here water, every time it rains, everything runs straight from the road,
Yeah,
all right straight through underneath my damn house, all underneath my basement. Every
You
time it
see
rains,
my
there's this much
backyard?
water in it.
I tell you what,
I mean,
whoever laid this town out didn't really consider where the runoff of this water is gonna go, because there's a lot of people, my neighbors, sump pump goes and he's rotted out his floor. We've had the older homes in here in town have had to replace flooring.
The
Because we
church,
can't
the
get to-
church basement had to be.
Yeah, we
The
just,
bathrooms,
drainage is
but
horrible.
we
in
will
town.
put gravel on your alley, okay,
Well, I mean,
and that should help.
I think tractor scrape it all up, but I don't want to beat somebody off, because I took a tractor through there like a tree. I want to treat that, because I got a $40,000 new truck, I don't want it all scratched up.
Well,
But if the tree's on your property.
No, in the alley, in the road,
that's yours to cut.
it ain't in my, if the alley, the other people.
The trees in the alley
Yeah, they're hanging over from the alley like that, I'm gonna cut
hanging
them.
over the alley.
Yeah.
But
That's on George's though, because I didn't cut half of his down.
Well, I cut them too, but I mean the other alley,
Oh, okay,
run side of you,
okay.
not front side of you.
The
I
only
didn't
thing the
ask, I
town
just
is
said.
liable for is the alley itself.
Yeah.
If there's a tree here that hangs over
Okay,
that
I-
alley,
I mean, I ain't.
It's hanging in the electric line now.
well, the
I cut
electric
it, I
company
don't
can be
care,
called.
I don't want somebody to get mad at me, because
Then nobody's gonna get mad at you.
all right,
But if it's in the electric, you can call the electric, if the electric lines are running. Call the electric company and have them come out. They will check it. If the lines are indeed in it, they can cut them down for you, or they may not.
That they won't, because I had that one in front house.
there you go. I was getting ready to say that.
That Duke Energy ain't gonna do
No,
nothing, you know.
and I had a humorous story on that. Guy come out, I filled it out online and everything, come out. And man, I had that huge ash tree that they cut down last year. That thing was huge, 40 foot high. And I thought, man, I'm gonna call them up. You know, they give me somebody gave me a quote of $6,000, knock that tree down. I said, my wife said, let it fall down. She don't care. So I called up the electric company and I said, look how close it is. These electric lines and all that's coming down. You know what he told me? He looked at me and said, well, thank you for the report, sir. Nice try. And he got back in his truck, and took
Well, I
off.
might be able to come on down.
So,
Yeah.
but what they told me was they've got a certain pot of money that they use to cut trees down. Once that pot's kind of extinguished, then they're done cutting trees.
If that tree falls on that electric line. it's
I-
just
I-
that much
I-
money
that's
worth.
right.
They'll have to do it
Yeah.
then.
I tried that argument, and they'll
I've
fix
done
it.
the
but-
same thing.
He told me, I saw these telephone lines running through. I said, what about Comcast cable and all that? And he looked at me and said, good luck. So I said, well, okay, what about all these telephone lines running through? He said, call them up. I said, can I do anything? He said, well, he smiled at me real nice, real polite. He said, good luck.
That ain't no doubt.
And so, you know,
I already called.
that's reality.
But
But
we will put some gravel.
Yeah, we can take care
I
of
just want
that.
to cut the gravel down, out, the hump out first.
Honey, do whatever you want to
Because
today.
all that water
We
runs
will
straight
bring
in.
you
I
some
mean-
gravel. That's all I'm saying, and that's what we're
Yeah.
gonna do. We'll bring you some gravel.
I'll agree with
So
you.
if you wanna slide it off, do it. We don't care. It's your alley and you're using
Yeah.
it, so, I
I
mean,
mean,
it's everybody's alley. But you use the alley, then kind of maintain it yourself. I maintain.
well, I mean,
mine.
I killed all them damn weeds, you know, and ivy things everywhere down through there. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, I cut them off there.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
and
fine.
that's good.
If you maintain the alley beside your house, we will
Well, Ken's kinda
be
got-
grateful for you to do it. And,
The trees, no, that's property owner.
yeah. Okay.
I wish I could help you out, but no. that's
Oh, it ain't that
property.
good a house, I mean. what-
Yeah, I mean, I
It's
don't,
mine.
I don't mind
Hey,
people
look, right?
coming up to town council and trying on things.
Well,
That's good. I try on things too, but trees, that's personal property. That's yours to take care of. If something happens, we don't touch that.
I mean,
Myra?
I got the renter out there. to make sure.
Okay.
I do.
Isla, what
My
do
name's
you
Tyler
need?
Catone, for everybody that doesn't know me, and I own the vet up on Highway 3. And we are gonna have, maybe this will help with your police car, we're gonna have over 20 events this year in 2021. So that's great considering we
Yes.
tanked last year because no fault of our own. We're gonna bring about 7,000 to 10,000 new people to this area in 2021.
Thank you.
A lot of people are, using Dollar General and using Bailey's, going to the bridge, getting, pictures taken. And I know that there is a town rule, bylaw, regulations about liquor licenses. So I would like to ask that the board consider allowing catering halls to have a three-way liquor license. The way it works now is I have a catering license through a restaurant that I own, so I can cater three-way there. But to do that, I have to fill out paperwork for the ATC every time I have an event. I have to send it to them. It has to be approved. If it's a private event, I do not have to contact law enforcement. If it's a public event, I do. I have so many days that I can set up the liquor, and then the liquor has to be removed. Well, it's quite hard on me to do all that, to move it all. And then if I have not used all the beer in a keg, I have to untap it and throw all that away. So it is kind of a financial burden. I could make more money to put into the town. I also am looking to get out of some of the businesses that I have in Decatur County because I have some other ideas for business opportunities here in the Westport area. So if I would sell a business, then I would have an issue with that catering license. Now, if I didn't have the catering license, anybody can get a private liquor license and bring the liquor in anyway, so that's not an issue. But I'm asking for consideration of changing that so I could apply for a regular three-way liquor license for that venue. I own 6 different businesses, I'm a responsible business owner, and we have a lot of people coming here. We do all the bartending ourselves, so we make sure that people do not leave intoxicated. There's designated drivers, nothing gets out of hand. So the alcohol is going to be there because of the way it's set up that anybody can have it, but I would like it to be done more through the venue.
I have more control that way.
My opinion on that, Isla, is you don't have a bar where people go every day and drink. Okay, so that's fine.
That's correct.
And I do realize that people like to have maybe a mixed drink or a glass of wine or a beer with their dinner when you have, especially a wedding party and so forth and so on. I feel like it's not our business as a town board to shut people down that are bringing good, wonderful things to our town. And when you say you're thinking about bringing more businesses to this town, you just make my heart glad. Because I love Westport and I think it's one of the best towns in this county. I've changed a lot of people's minds on how Westport used to be looked at.
Well, a lot of people that are coming here are like, oh my gosh, this is in
This is so
Westport.
sweet.
I had
I
this in
know.
my mind
I
that
know.
Westport was that,
So,
terrible name. so-
I think as a board member, I would vote to personally let you, as a person who doesn't have a bar, but just has this venue for nice gatherings for people, for weddings and things like that, that we would definitely, if we were going to give one to somebody, it would be you. That's how I feel. And Harry and John, I think we both understand that you're not opening a tavern. You're not opening a biker bar. You're not opening whatever.
Well, if she doesn't offer it, they're gonna go to the liquor store and get what they want.
Absolutely.
And then they're gonna sit outside and drink
You
it.
already own the liquor store in the parking lot.
Yeah, and drink it.
Right. So I
We tried
understand
to
when you're,
eliminate some, yeah.
I understand where you're coming from as having to get this for an event and then take it all away yourself. And it would be nice if you had because you have room in there to have
Right.
your own little place where you can
Right.
do drinks for people. And if you police it, okay, you know what? I don't think as a board member that I would have a bit of problem with you doing it.
And that's something we'll take into consideration. I don't want to do too much more talk about it, not John being here.
Right.
Try to get all this together and have a discussion on that, so John's part of the conversation. I know John's not here this evening because of the other duties, but it's all of us together making the decision.
Right,
We'll
totally
we'll take
understand.
it into consideration. Ryan?
You forgot Barb.
Oh, I'm sorry, Barb.
I'm good.
You okay?
I didn't mean to skip you, Barb. I can say you ain't got a
I
ring.
got the window scraped.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Got
oh,
mine, it's Mother's
Thank
Day.
you, thank you for
Yes,
that.
it's
Oh,
I was going to ask you about this.
Yes,
How are you doing on this?
We have the money.
Okay. Did
Oh,
you
we
get it?
do.
Okay.
We are waiting
Oh,
on
great.
we have to wait on a contractor
Uh-huh.
to officially specifications
Mhm.
has to be written up
Okay.
in legal terms.
And the people that are putting their names on here, is that going to be a cost to the?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you
Yes.
know what?
We haven't got that far.
Okay,
We're going, once we get that,
yes,
then we're gonna go to each business
okay.
and
And
see
offer
who
them.
wants it.
Mhm.
And then we'll know how much to charge.
Okay,
We may have to add more.
okay. Well, it's a wonderful idea and I've been excited about us
Yes.
having this.
Yes,
for
we do
Westport.
have the money and we went on to another grant
Uh-huh.
to get the money to have, the guy to pay for the
Pre-planning or.
pre-planning.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
all
see what you're
pre-planned
talking
and
about.
everything, but
Right,
it has to
exactly.
be legal.
Yeah, you do, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then that's really great.
It
Barb.
is,
Really, really looks
Yeah.
I
nice.
think Main Street, I'm very proud of what you guys do. You know, I'm glad
That's
we
good.
started that here and I'm glad it's still here and I'm glad you guys are carrying it forward. Thank you.
Tony's finishing it up.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, Brian.
Mr. Brian.
The lot next to the police department looks good.
Yes.
Did you have to buy fill dirt to put in that?
No, I wish Dane was here. He got the dirt from somewhere.
Water plant down there with the-
Yeah.
What-
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Construction.
Okay.
Very
Good
nice.
timing.
Yeah.
They probably put a graveyard, I think, on the graveyard up there and stuff in there.
Okay.
Main Street would like to use the dam area on June 12th on a Saturday for the Covered Bridge Festival.
Okay.
We've
I
been to
think
the
we can vote on
commissioners,
that. We
we've
talked
got the
about it
bridge.
Mhm.
They're gonna close the road down for us on
Mhm.
Friday, Layton's Drive. They're gonna put up the barricades and everything.
Oh, you're gonna go ahead and have that then?
Yes.
All right.
Covered bridge.
Covered bridge, yes.
I make the motion that we allow the Main Street of Westport
Hmm.
to have the covered bridge and the area there for the festival,
I
for
will
the
second,
town.
I will second that motion. All in favor? Aye.
What
So-
was the date?
June 12th.
And they're.
Yeah, that's a Saturday. I hope.
No, I'm jumping ahead to other festivals.
That's not very far off,
Uh,
so it'll be really nice.
So, Mark or whoever mows that bottom there, Damon, I just asked for permission to use the dam area June 12th for the Covered Bridge Festival. So that's a Saturday, the week before, if we could get that mowed down the dam area, that'd be wonderful. When we did this last time, I asked for a couple loads of stone on the entrances. I paid for one, and then the town paid for one. If you guys would consider doing that again, I would do that again. Just tell me what half of the bill is, and I bring a check down here to the town.
I make the motion that we allow some gravel to be put on it goes down to the dam there where the cars come in.
But I think more needs to be put off to the right, don't you?
Yeah, it's the first entrance right after you turn off the road. Might
Right,
extend that just a little bit.
yeah, down into where the,
Okay.
to where the
You want a second?
driveway is.
I'll pay for the other load.
Oh,
Okay.
I
Oh,
that's
I don't-
awesome.
I'll
Okay,
split it with
Thank
him.
you.
I'll
Okay.
split it with Brian.
all
All
right.
right. Well,
So
case
is it
closed.
up to you two then to?
We
find
make the
somebody?
motion, we allow you to do
You
that.
all
If
take
the
care of it,
If
just
the
give
town
me
will
the.
haul it,
Yeah,
then we can,
Okay.
Right,
we'll split the bill.
yeah, for
All
sure.
right.
thank you.
I'll second that motion.
We appreciate that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Gloria, back when we started the water project, to pay Commonwealth up front, we took a loan from the water and sewer company in anticipation, and that's in the resolution, in anticipation of getting that paid back out of the grant and
Correct.
loan fund. Have we done, has any of that transacted yet?
Yes.
Okay.
We did pay it back, and Marcia was very happy about that because when we pulled it out to pay the water, we pulled it out of the reserve fund that we have to have for the USDA.
Yes.
So we still have to keep 100,000 in there as a cushion for USDA because we have loans with them.
Okay.
So I would love to say it's money that we can actually use, but most of it's designated already.
Okay. The fire hydrant paint, what precipitated that?
They were ugly.
Okay.
Just,
They
Just
look
fast
very
spruce up a little
nice.
bit.
You painted? I got
Yeah.
a job for you.
If we,
My paint was permanent.
I like it.
It looks
It
nice.
looks really nice.
Look
They
good.
look
We
really
forgot
nice.
a couple, but they're.
yeah, just a suggestion, I don't know how many of them don't work. But if there are any excess funds on the water project, maybe replace a couple of hydrants
Yeah, that
if
was-
it's in need.
We're replacing two this week.
Okay,
We just replaced one over at the corner shop, and Poplar, and then one at Mulberry and Range. Of course, Rumpke donated the one over on Cape, or Best Way, one out here.
Right. right. That's it.
All right,
Me.
good. Yeah,
Thank you, Brian.
I guess that comes under Brian, the continuous improvement. We're trying, like we bought a striping machine to get things striped and paint there's little things we can do, and then what's Damon's been in charge of and kind of sprucing it up, but then these big things the council will tackle here on that, but anyway. Keith?
I think damn for like what I was at.
Okay. Yeah,
You
we're,
say you talked to three contractors to give you an estimate?
I've sent them out, yeah, just for bids.
Or I mean, bid, what you're,
Yeah.
okay. You have any idea what's gonna run roughly, estimate?
we haven't
I'm
forgotten.
gonna guess somewhere between 50 to 70,000, just from my experience of doing that kind of work. I mean, that may be on the cheap side, I don't know. We got-
That's pretty be around it.
Well, we're gonna have 2 or 3 concrete drives to pass. I think there'll be 2 asphalt, well, with our road and 1 asphalt drive. Those would be pretty pricey, but every one of them will need the culverts. So just the work itself.
The engineer that had worked that up for you didn't give you any idea? on- of the
Well, no,
cost?
we had the problem had just came, well, the problem had just come up, but getting it fixed had just come up. So we hadn't had any money budgeted or anything for that project, so we wanted an engineer to design something. Hey, what can we do here to make this work, make this water go away, and just basically take it step for step, we're not spending it all at once.
Yeah. We haven't forgotten you, Keith.
I'm just curious,
That's fine.
the new, mobile home park, whatever it is up there,
Right.
how's it coming? You got 2.5 things, and I've been there for a while, like it. Too bad.
I talked to him last week and he is getting ready to meet with the state because he has to meet certain criteria with the State Board of Health. Once he's met that criteria, he'll be able to open up the home more. Technically, it is open and available for people to purchase.
I saw you had signs up there.
Yeah, he's advertising and I think he's working on getting his customer base going. But on our side of it, everything's cleared. I think he just has to do a few things with the state yet.
I didn't know if they've got 2.5 in there, so. I don't know
Yeah,
what another half they want.
It's down there.
Yeah, I think that they're,
Is it down
right
there?
now, they're just
Yeah.
waiting to
There's
get
one way back in the back.
things in line, but they've really,
and I think right now he's approved for at least 4 or 5 to go in there. I think he's only got like maybe 2 or 3
Yeah.
officially in there, so he's not quite at like the first phase or whatever. But I think he's looking for a certain type of character or customer base in there. I know that it's like $1,000 a month to rent in there, so I think that's gonna take a little while to fill.
All right.
Plus your paint, house paint.
Said all, Keith.
That was it.
Okay. Annie, thanks for coming tonight. Yeah, I see you started to clean up. You were kind of on the top of our list, your area over there, and I know the building's burned out, and it's been about a year now, and
In 9 months, I've been fighting the insurance all the time. Now they tell me they're not gonna pay for it. So. Need everybody else, but they're not gonna pay for the building because it's something about the address. So. Then I came up to pay my water bill up. I finally got all my back bill paid,
well, that's good.
except for this, when I had to be rushed to the hospital for my gallbladder. I called from the hospital and said I have a water leak and had it shut off.
All right.
And apparently it's now almost $1,500 worth of water out on the ground. Before I could even come home from the hospital, I had to have somebody fix it because they wouldn't allow me to come home without water. So I think Jenny got a bill today and got it fixed it for me. But, I paid.
And Danny, and I thought about, I'm glad you're here this evening, because the first condemnation hearing we were going to have is going to be with you. And before that hearing, I think we'll try to do that next month, is what we're trying to do is come up with a plan. It's not only your area, it's the mobile home that burned down, and that, and we're going to go through the town and going to start condemning buildings. And we're going to have to do some work with each individual on that, because that's where we're going to start working on. It can, I'm dancing. I know I'm dancing with my words. I know I am. What I want to say is, we're going to get the job done, but we're trying to alleviate the circumstances based on individual needs and the individuals. So we're going to really have to come up with some creative ideas and some ways to work with it, because how this could work, and Scott, please correct me if I'm wrong, we could pay and tear all that down. But what would happen is we would end up putting the cost of that back on your property taxes. Your property taxes would be so sky high that because of your income, you would not be able to afford that. So there's a possibility that you could end up losing everything that you've got. Am I correct in that, Scott?
I mean, in a nutshell, that's not out of the realm of possibility.
That's, I'm trying to open up possibilities to them. That's a possibility of what could happen, Danny. Now, we'll help you as much as we can. If you got friends or whatever, or I'll personally come over and help sometime, or get some group or whatever to start tearing that other building down, that's an option to look into. And we'll figure out how to cart that away, but I guess what I'm saying is, Danny, we're gonna clean that area up.
Well, you ain't gonna clean it. I will clean it up myself.
Then that's good. That's all I ask,
I found out from everybody lying to me.
right?
I just quit asking anybody if I can come down there and help.
Well, I was
So
just,
that's just the way it is.
well, I
I mean,
understand.
you guys have been on me, you shut my water off 100 times. They put a new meter out in the middle of my driveway. When you should have put another meter in, like you promised 2 years before that. And a lot of that stuff has been done. You let my water bill get up $700 when I was incarcerated. And I don't know why in the world you let my bill get up that high.
Did
But
you,
I had to pay that before I could ever get it turned back on.
right, did you make a request to have your water shut off?
I was incarcerated. You cannot make a request or anything like that while you're incarcerated.
Did you ask through any family members or friends?
My family members, I'm the black sheep of my family and I don't like them and I don't give a fuck what they do. That's just the way I am. Now, I'm trying my best to get along with the city. But you shut my water off, you let my bill go high. I went almost 2 years without no running water down there. I had to carry my water across town to drink because my sorry ass neighbor down there wouldn't give me a gallon of water. Or wouldn't want me to take a shower in the place over there.
Right,
So it's just made me just more dependable on myself.
well, I can see that, Danny, and I can remember, and I thought about this tonight, was it been about 30 years ago or more?
I moved
That
here
I-
back
that-
in 30.
That I went out on a limb when you was doing your yard service and stuff, you planted a lot of trees out there at the cemetery.
And never charged this town one bit.
Yeah, I know that, Danny, and
My name is nowhere out there for all the
Right.
work that I've done.
right,
Next people came back as their name there, but none of mine.
and Danny, I remember that, and I remember from where you were then to where you are now, so that's why I'm saying of remembering that, and I'm not saying this as a town council member, I'm saying this as a private individual. When I step away from this town council, I'll be willing to help where I can as carry the individual, Danny, and I'll abide by that. But, and then I'll let this go and we'll stop on this issue, but that area is gonna have to be cleaned up, Dan.
And
It
you
just,
know,
it's just,
I've done a
you've
lot.
started, that's good,
The only reason I didn't do it in front, because if I cut them trees down in front,
all right?
Jerry and them's gonna be looking at the front porch and it looks bad. That's why I
Well,
didn't cut them down no farther than what
yeah.
I did. But you guys can tell, I've done a lot of work down there by myself,
Yes,
with
yeah,
no help.
I'll grant you that, but
With no power tools, I chopped all that down with machete and a
Right.
shovel.
But what I'm saying, and this is for the town on the internet, we're not picking on anybody, but this is the direction we're gonna go, we're gonna help. But we've got some areas in town that are,
A lot in town.
that yours pales in comparison to.
Yeah,
but we
mine's
are
a
gonna
lot
clean-
better than a lot of places.
We are gonna clean this place up.
But
that's-
I want to, I've been trying.
I know.
I've been trying to get government grants through the VA. I've hit the lock every time I've turned around.
All right. Danny,
I
not
will
to,
get it done.
not to stress the meeting out, but Danny, we'll work on it and then we'll have a hearing next month and you can come up with a plan and then we'll have time to sit and talk all this out, just you and the town council, and we'll use that time to do that. But I appreciate that you have started. I drove by, you have started clearing them bushes, and that's a start. And for us, some people think we're separate or singling people out to do things. No, we're not. We're being even-handed and we're trying to work with people to do it. But the end analysis is, right or wrong, this town, we're gonna clean it up and make it look like what it could be and not what it
I
is.
like to see this town.
We're gonna work on
I'm
it.
trying to
man.
offer that place
We're
down there
We're working.
as a rehab, as a homeless shelter, everything.
But I think then what I will say, then I'll end the conversation right here on this, Danny. We are going to try to help each other in the town of Westport. These are our problems to take care of. this is our work to do, and somehow we're gonna work it out, and there's other issues going on in town. But we'll work on it, Danny. But anyway, you'll get a letter and everything in the mail, and
I'll be here next month. and I'll
if
talk
you want to bring,
one-on-one with the
if you want to
council.
bring legal counsel or anything, you're entitled to do that,
I
Danny.
know-
If
I
you
know my
choose,
rights,
okay,
so I appreciate it, and I'll see
Okay,
you
you're
next
welcome.
month. I appreciate you go over that water bill,
all right.
$1,500 a lot, that's me,
Yeah.
I just got out of debt. I only live on $1,000 a month.
I know, Danny, it's not, we've
I'm
got
scraping
some,
by.
we've got some women that their husbands have passed away, they're living on about 800 a month.
I know.
And
I ain't
and
the only one.
struggling, and we know that, but we'll work with you.
As long as you work with me, I'll work with you.
I
But
have one thing to say before we
Right.
close tonight. I think you've all noticed that the flasher light's gone from Davies and from the junction and from Let's and so forth and so on. That is a state thing that they're doing now everywhere. All the flashers are going, and we're getting stop signs with flashers on them. But what I want to ask as a town council and as a person from Westport, I realize when you pull up to Davies, if you don't pull out and look behind you, you can't see.
no, we can't,
If there's somebody sitting in your other seat, you cannot see up that street.
no.
I really like the flashers on the stop signs. I think them are wonderful.
Right.
But I'm wondering if the town, because we have a striper, could we at least put an intersection mark across the highway?
Not across the highway, we
No,
can.
I would, we can't touch it.
Ooh,
Okay.
no.
Now, I've been places where they have some sort of yellow line saying intersection ahead. Who does that? Where can we get that done? Because I really think that's important.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably check on the liability, if we want to do something like
It-
that.
Do you think that maybe the state would do that if we asked?
I don't know. We just have to ask.
PennDOT should do something with it.
Well, I don't know. We can't tell, we can all go up there and raise Cain with the state about taking them out, but they're gonna do it anyway.
Well,
There's nothing
Well,
we
are
can
you
do
just
about
talking
it.
about the sign that gives you a warning that there's a problem?
On the roadway itself.
Oh, on the roadway. Oh,
They
I don't
have
know.
yellow stripes sometimes that say intersection ahead. Now, and I've also seen signs that say intersection ahead.
Something like that, I mean, in order to paint it, even if they had approved it, that tells me to paint it, and we're gonna spend $200-300 on a stencil for.
Right.
for
No,
one
no, no,
intersection.
no, we don't.
I will pay for that.
I
And
know-
I don't have any
know-
money.
I know, George, but then we get into liability.
Well,
and
what I'm
taking
saying
care of
is,
it,
I will-
Something happened to do. It's state.
Harry,
I know.
we had a little girl get killed right
Yes,
there
I
at that
know.
intersection. One child is way too many.
Well, I understand that also, and I understand that anyway, that's a state issue. We have to deal with the state.
You ought to
on
call Seymour.
I've got to do something because
And
I
find
don't
out
feel
what
good
the
about
options
that
are.
doing that.
That's what I would do.
That's probably the best option, because I mean, if we're up for a paint, we're gonna shut down part of the road. State highway.
Scott, what, do we have any recourse?
It's a
I
state
didn't
road.
think
You got-
so.
You gotta go
Yeah.
through NDOT.
I know that, okay.
And it's actually, when I called and asked them about it, they sent me an email and statistics on the one in Milroy. that they
Right.
Got here last year. And the crash rates went down like 73%. But they
Right.
took the caution lights down, just put the flashing stop signs up. So I don't.
I do like the flashing stop signs. I didn't
Yeah,
think I
I know.
would, but I
Yeah.
do.
Well, the ones up there though.
The
they-
junction that was the ones that I thought, now this really got my attention.
Right, the ones up there though, it's actually the stop sign itself.
Right.
Flashes. They don't have the ones up the one up on top.
Yeah. Well, I do see intersection signs on highways, but who gets them there, I'll have to find out. Thank you, Brian. I'll check it out. Thank you. Oh, okay. I have access to them too.
Anything else, Scott? Did you want to say anything? I'd like to talk about something after the meeting. though. If there's not anything else, I will
Motion,
hear a motion that we adjourn.
you have the motion. So be it.
I will second that motion. On favor? Aye.
Emotion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hang on, Scott. I
You
gotta,
do
I gotta
this.
sign some paperwork.
You do yours. Okay.
Well, what did you, well, I just moved back up here. And I just moved back up. Do you know, I go, and I'm interested, and I managed.
Well,